Nigeria, by extension Africa, battles a growing youthful population and with little or no meaningful engagement leaves a ticking time bomb on our hands. We are a blessed continent with great wealth, both in people and material. Our focus on ways remains driving conversations that affects us all. Topics in the news, social concerns, politics, leadership, governance, empowerment, resource management, conflict management, finance, SME sustainability, technological innovation, food security, health, education, brain drain, our well-being, citizenship, and much more. Our goal is to continuously drive these conversations, keep them burning at the table to effect a positive change, both for our nation and continent. Ways, what are you saying, has a secret ingredient that completes the conversation every single episode, and that ingredient is you. Our past conversations shaped our yesterday. To shape our tomorrow, we must keep talking. So, I want to hear you. Be a part of our live conversations Mondays through Fridays. And let's all have our say. Nigeria is a country of immense potential, blessed with natural resources, a youthful population, and a vibrant culture. Yet it faces persistent challenges such as corruption, poor governance, insecurity, and underdevelopment. While these issues are often blamed on external systems or political failures, a growing number of voices argue that the root of Nigeria's problem lies deeper in the collective mindset of its people. Mindset shapes behaviors, it drives decisions, and influences how societies respond to challenges. So, if Nigeria is to truly transform, many believe that a shift in thinking across all levels of society is critical. But, can a change in mindset really bring about national transformation? This question lies at the heart of our conversation for tonight. So it's another wonderful episode on your favorite primetime show, Ways. My name remains Osaiwa Mesali, and tonight we're asking whether if we truly change our mindset, right? If we shift our mindset, can we transform Nigeria? Please remember, Ways is all about you. You are the one in Ways. So be a part of the conversation every single day and add your voice to the discussion. You can also head onto our YouTube channel. It's at Official Upgrade TV. Hit the subscribe button, like, share, invite families and friends to watch and join the show right now. When I open the phone lines, I'd love to hear your thoughts on this. And as always, let me allow you ponder on my quote for the day. It says, "You cannot change a society until you change the mindset of its leaders." And this quote was by Chinua Achebe. And it's very simple, pretty straightforward. There is no society that can change until the mindset of its leaders, and might I add, its people, right, changes. So we'll delve into all of this much later, but first, I'm off on a break. When I come back, I'll let you in on my news interest for the day. Stay with me. All right, thanks for staying tuned. So I'll start with the federal government has withdrawn its criminal complaint against Miss Comfort Emerson, the passenger that was accused of unruly behavior aboard the Ibon Air flight, and they also reduced the flight ban imposed on Fuji music star Wasiu Ayinde, popularly known as Kwam1. According to the Minister of Aviation and Aerospace Development, Festus Kiamo, he announced his decision on Wednesday following consultations with stakeholders in the aviation sector. According to the minister, the resolution were reached after reviewing the incidents and, of course, considering appeals from all well-meaning individuals, and considering the remorse shown rather by those that were involved. Kiamo revealed that Ibom Air has agreed to withdraw its complaint against Ms. Emerson, who was arrested over the incident on the 10th of August. Now, the airline operators of Nigeria has also agreed to lift the lifetime ban placed on her, with details to be announced soon. It says on the Value Jet incident involving Kwam1, the minister also disclosed that the Nigerian Aviation Authority, Civil Aviation Authority, that's NCAA, will reduce his ban to 1 month. Fan also plans to engage the musician as an ambassador for airport security protocols. The 1 month ban would also apply to Value Jet captain Oluranti Ogoyi and also the first officer Ivan Oloba, whose licenses, of course, had similar ban tenure, and they will be restored after mandatory professional reappraisal was done. So Kemo announced all of this, that a retreat will be held next week to retrain aviation security personnel on managing disruptive passengers and de-escalating tense situation. He also said that the airlines will also have dedicated sessions to address staff conduct towards travelers. Do I want to comment on this? I don't think so. So I saw, or I heard the news early hours of this morning, and I was just smiling. I said, okay, maybe I need to go and attempt to stop an aircraft so that they can also make me a brand ambassador for airport security protocol. It is well. But one thing is certain, though. You can't take away the conversation we had yesterday on selective justice, and you cannot take away the fact that, it is because of the system of that selective justice at play. That's why, if they do one for the real target is to actually just end the Kwam1 6-month ban, because already he's done 2 weeks. So 6 months ban to 1 month. So that's the real target. That's the real goal, in my opinion. However, thankfully, the innocent people that have no godfather or they are common men will then benefit from it, because they cannot do one and leave the other. That was really obvious, that, everybody, there was so much outcry. I don't know if we saw we read about the recount of the seat, the people sitting close to Miss Emma. I mean, you could, or Miss Comfort rather, you could tell that, there was a lot of provocation before it got to that stage where, it was now, what's it called, a slapping matter and all that, getting physical. All right, so I'll move on to my next story. The federal government, or Federal Road Safety Corps, has advised that women traveling with their husbands should be co-drivers instead of rubbing powder, looking at mirrors, and adjusting headgears. The Costain Unit Commander of FRSC in Lagos State, Chief Route Commander Victor Okelola, said it has been observed that most times wives do not pay attention to the driving attitude of their husbands. They engage in making up and tying headgear in the car. Also, in this age of mobile phones, right, they tend to concentrate on their phones and not minding their surroundings. So he urged wives to be observant and caution their husbands when speeding and exhibiting other forms of reckless driving. He said that driving above 100 kilometers per hour was dangerous. Okay, Lola also appealed to motorists to abide by road traffic rules and regulations to ensure road safety. He also appealed to them to ensure that their vehicles would be in good conditions before even embarking on any trip. Now, wow. Why now? Why is there this kind of stereotypical, what's it called? Stereotypical blanket generalization when it comes to women. It's not all women that tie headgear. First of all, I don't even like headgears. I hate headgears. So I don't know how we got to that point where you say we are doing only makeup and headgears. No, we don't do that here. Yeah. So I think the final story I'll take would be the Lagos State government unveils the pilot phase of its innovative identifier project, a digital house numbering and addressing system aimed at improving service delivery. land administration and emergency response. So speaking during the unveiling, the governor, Babajide Sanwo-Olu, described the system as a major step in deploying technology to resolve long-standing land issues. Lagos digital house numbering system is a novel idea, according to what he said. So it's about technology, and that is one of the things that we are trying to achieve, using technology as a strong enabler to be able to resolve all our land issues, where from the comfort of your house you can access and resolve land title issues. Sanwo-Olu praised the federal government's renewed hope agenda for seeking to unlock the economic potential of land assets, noting that electronic land documentation is the only way forward. I love this. I said it before when the issues around land was happening. I said how a friend of mine that lives in Indonesia says, I mean, you can just Google anything when it comes to like land allocation. You want to check, maybe you want to buy a property. All you need to just do is go on Google, put in the address, put in the property, and all the details that is needed would come up, because it is that effective. So I think this would be a game changer if you ask me, if it is done effectively well. So final story. I thought that was my final story, but I have another story. It says the Economic and Financial Crimes Commission has granted bail to the former Sokoto State Governor Aminu Tambuwal after questioning him over alleged fraudulent cash withdrawal totaling 189 billion naira. Tambuwal, who was governor of Sokoto State from 2015 to 2023, was invited to EFCC headquarters in Abuja on Monday. Arriving at 11:30 a.m., he was reinterrogated by investigators and subsequently detained at the commission's headquarters. According to EFCC sources, the withdrawal are suspected to contravene the Money Laundering Prevention and Prohibition Act 2022. And then, of course, sources said that the former governor had been released after meeting his bail conditions, which were described as not stringent. Yeah, some people were saying this was politically motivated, but I would always just say that whether it's politically motivated or not, I think we should stop deflecting issues. 189 billion naira, that's a lot of money. And I'm saying that, it's something that should be questioned. The way we move money in this country is just sad. Nobody questions anything. I watched a very, very sickening video. I think it was Sheon Akimbolo, his podcast, I think it's called Mike On or something, where somebody was revealing how we had tons of millions of dollars that somebody has. Like, in fact, let's even go and withdraw the money or retrieve the money. There was nothing done. So you can now imagine how the wealth of this country just seems to be in the hands of just a few people, as opposed to spreading, that love to go around everybody. It's very sickening when you listen to some of these things, and it's quite emotionally draining for me. So these days, I just try to avoid them. But it's sad. That's our reality. We'll take a break. When we come back from that break, I want to discuss, mindset shifts, and if truly mindset shifts can make a difference in our transformation of our country. Stay with us. We'll be right back.
Life is made up of moments, some that fill us with joy, others that test our strength. Welcome to Heartlines. This is our space to explore the highs and lows of human connection, the love, the heartbreak, and resilience that shapes our life. From relationships to friendships, parenting to partnerships, and so much more. Every week, we share stories and conversations that define us, navigating love, separations, the struggles of parenting, dealing with anxiety and managing the pressures and stress of life. Real conversations that bring us closer, helping us heal, grow, and connect. So join me Mondays through Fridays at 10 p.m. for Heartlines, the show where we'll connect hearts, have real conversations with real people, one story at a time.
All right, thanks for staying tuned. Now, at the heart of any nation's progress is its people's attitude towards work, leadership, law, and, towards one another, right? How we relate to each other. In Nigeria, decades of systemic issues have created a mindset shaped by distrust, um, short, short-term thinking, and dependency. Changing this attitude could lead to transformative change. For instance, if political leaders adopt a mindset of service over self-interest or, self-interest, governance will be more transparent and accountable. Likewise, when citizens begin to see themselves as responsible participants in nation building rather than passive observers, civic engagement and social responsibility will definitely improve. So when we understand mindset and its role in national development, right, it's important for us to be able to define clearly what mindset is, right? A mindset refers to the established set of attitudes, right, that is held by individuals or group of people. In the context of national development, collective mindsets, right, influences how citizens engage with governance, they engage with education, they engage with innovation and social responsibility. In Nigeria, it's said that decades of colonial legacy, military rule, economic instability, and all of that, they have contributed to a culture of dependency. It has also contributed to the short-term thinking that I mentioned earlier and distrust in institutions. Transforming these mindsets is essential to achieving meaningful progress. If we want to move forward, we need to go back and check how are we even thinking about this? How are we approaching this? I did a video a few days ago on reimagining a new Nigeria. And I said something, I said, see, if we are not able to picture what that new Nigeria would look like, it will be very difficult for us to even get to that destination. Because one thing that I have learned in psychology, everything you can think about, everything you're able to put a picture to, the vision you're able to create, to say this is what a picture to, the vision is where I'm going, gives you the ability for you to be able to even arrive there. Because if you cannot see it, when you get there, how would you know that you have gotten there? So it is very important that we need to start to shift our mindsets if we want to achieve any sense of meaningful progress. I'll touch on leadership and responsibility, right? Because one of the most critical areas for mindset transformation is leadership. Many Nigerians view political offices, for instance, right? They view it as a means of personal enrichment. A lot of us, sadly, now you see a lot of people want to go into politics, not for what it's supposed to be. You want to go into positions of leadership, not for what it's supposed to be, which is supposed to be service to people, right? A lot of Nigerians view these political offices as a means of personal enrichment. Once I get into government, I don't blow. And it's the same way that the people that even collect contracts from government, right? That is how they also view jobs from government. If not, why would you take hundreds of billions of naira to say you want to build roads? And that road, we're revisiting building the road the next year. The next budget cycle, that road is still put inside that budget. Because again, you look at it as a means of enriching yourself, not as a means of actually even doing the job or serving. Just like people go into politics as a means to think, I'm coming to enrich myself. People that take jobs from, what's it called, government coffers, either contracts or whatever, that's the same mindset. I gave an example of how I wanted to apply for a federal government loan, to expand my business and all of that. And the conditions where I had to do XYZ, drop some certain percentages and all of that. And not only do I need to do that, in the end, this blanket statement this person made to me was, Madam, na government money, na free money, nobody they pay back. And he then said, and I said, Oga, you realize that I'm dropping a collateral for this loan. He said, I beg, now government money, nobody they pay back. So if we have that mindset, and this is why a lot of those government loans, right, go very bad, because people are accessing those loans with zero intention to pay back. And it affects every other thing. Because you see, imagine if we truly understood the implications of some of the actions that we are taking and how the ripple effect is impacting on other people. What do you think the approach would look like? It will be definitely different. So many Nigerians view political offices, right, as a means of personal enrichment rather than public service. And this mindset fuels corruption. It completely erodes public trust. If we really shift our mind and start to think servant leadership, where leaders prioritize the needs of the people, right, maybe this can lead to a more transparent, better governance policies and better implementations and all of that. That is all that will require. We just need to switch. It's almost like there's a switched off what's it called switch in our head that we just need to go and switch it on. Just change our perspective to things, because if we start to think, I am here to serve the people, and I must make sure that the service I am rendering is quality service, everything, that would be a game changer, right? That would be a game changer. But for this to happen, it requires not just individual change. It's a complete cultural shift in what is expected, right, from us as a people and from our leaders. It's a complete switch. We have to have that mind and start to think differently. I sat back and I said, over the years, I'll be 40 this year, and I know that even from when I was young, some of the things that I'm hearing today, I heard it as a child. Oh, well, the government is corrupt, is this, is that, we just talk and everything. I've been wondering to myself for the past a year or two, these are the things that we talk about all the time. We have shouted about it, we've talked about it, but things are not changing. So should that not give us a cue that because things are not changing, it means we need to change something fundamentally wrong, which is the way we even think, the way we approach things. How is it okay for somebody to withdraw 189 billion naira, and the next thing a political leader is coming out and saying that it is politically motivated? You are just shifting, deflecting completely from the issue. How is it okay that a political leader would put bribe money in their cap? Until today, nothing happened. How is it okay that a lot of high-profile Nigerians have been labeled to be supporters and sponsors of Boko Haram and sponsors of terrorists? Until date, nothing has changed, right? Instead, we begin to redefine it. We begin to change it. Somebody did something, right? Trying to stop a plane. All of a sudden, you're considering that person to be your security ambassador. It is the thinking for me. And until this type of thought process is refined, it's going to be difficult for us to go anywhere, right? It's going to be difficult. And one of the biggest ways to do it is through education and real empowerment. Because if you look at the Nigerian educational system, it often emphasizes rot over critical thinking and problem solving. You're just there. Let me read my book, cram it, and cheat where I can cheat and make whatever by A's, and that's it. The educational system in Nigeria does not challenge the mind to think. And education is supposed to be one of the tools that would help us solve problems and think critically. It's supposed to challenge us to say, okay, there's a challenge here. We're having flooding issue, for instance, in Nigeria. How do we solve that problem? We start to search, do a lot of research, do a lot of this, and then come up with solutions. Education is one of the tools that would help us in problem solving. But look at where we are with our educational system. You go into the exam hall, all you're thinking is, how do I make an A? You're not bothered, right? How these things that you're learning, how it will be applied in real life case scenarios that will change the game. Nothing like that. So and that's why there's a complete rot in that system. A lot of people just go there, bribe who they can bribe, cheat where they can cheat, come up with the A's, and that's it. A mindset shift in education from merely acquiring certificates to actually building skills and innovative ideas, it can become the game changer. It can empower young people. It can become the thing that we have, that would completely transform our nation. Because it will not only empower people, it will create amazing opportunities for young people to earn decent living. We are shouting about people, a lot of young boys going into fraud and a lot of young girls going into, would I call it sex work or whatever it is. It will continue to happen. It's not going to change. Right? Because now, even these guys that are fraudsters, they have told these people that your certificate is useless. If you come here and you shadow me, I teach you how to do this job, in a month or two, you will also be buying your own Benz. Do you see the thinking? Because now we are the ones that rendered those certificates useless, because education was never about bagging certificates and getting A's and all of that. No. Education was meant to unlock something in your mind that gives you the ability to problem solve and think critically about issues. That is what education is meant to do. But we have completely ruined that. And if at all anything must change, then we must go back and then go and start to refine and start to, update our curriculum, do so many things that would change that game in that space. Because if we look at it, one of the biggest tools to take off all these issues around unemployment, poverty, and all of that, education is one of those biggest tools. And it would even encourage a lot of people to become entrepreneurs, right? And who are entrepreneurs? Entrepreneurs see that there's a problem and they create a solution to solve that problem. In that way, that entire value chain, they make money from it. You start to raise a lot of problem solvers in Nigeria. But that cannot be done now because the quality of our education is at a bottom low. And that is really sad. So the goal for the conversation tonight is, can mindset shift, right? Can it transform Nigeria? I would say the answer is yes. But are we even ready to switch that, flip that switch on? We can't. We are not ready for that. We are comfortable. And you see, the more we go online and we shout and all of that, nothing is going to change. We almost tell ourselves, I think the first place to start with mindset shift is actually telling yourself the truth, right? Accept where you are wrong, accept your flaws and everything. First of all, be honest with yourself and say, I have a problem. And how do I solve this problem? I think that's the first way to even change the game, right? One of the biggest problems we have regarding our mindset is this quick success. Get rich quick, right? A lot of Nigerians have this get rich quick mentality. Many Nigerians are caught in that cycle of pursuing fast wealth. And that's why you see, again, we go back to the cases of fraud, shortcuts, all the girls, selling their body, and political, office holders that would think that once I get into that space, I am made for life. These are all get-rich-quick schemes, right? And nobody is ready to invest in long-term growth. Long-term is a lot. What we're doing here, we're quietly building, but guess what? It's a long game. It's not a short game. If we wanted to do a short game, there are other things to invest in, and all of a sudden you get the returns. Do you know why we keep on having issues around when this Ponzi scheme guys, when they come out and all of a sudden you hear there's a crash and you now see millions of people crying because of what? Is the get rich quick scheme. Nobody is ready to put in the work. And you see, this mentality, right, it undermines productivity and national integrity. Right? If we need to do anything, a societal shift towards valuing hard work, towards valuing integrity, towards valuing delayed gratification, those can help us, right? It would help us bring about or promote sustainable development and ethical standards in both public and private life. If we're talking about sustainability, how do you sustain wealth? The wealth that can be sustained is the wealth that also took time to build. You can't have all this get-rich-quick scheme and think it's going to be sustained. And definitely, once that mindset is there, you see anything called integrity is out of the window. Anything called morality is out of the window, because at that point, you're ready to do anything. Why do we have a high rise in issues around, kidnapping? Why do we have high rise in issues around ritual killings? Why do we have high rise in issues around, robbery? Why do we have high rise in terrorism and all these banditries and all of that? It's because of, I want to make money and I want to make it now. You're not ready to put in the hard work. You're not ready to do anything. I just need money. What is the means to make money? And you get on with it. So it's going to be hard. Until we change that mindset, right? That is the only time we can build sustainable wealth and also bring back ethical standards, both in our public and our private lives. You know, transformation cannot rest on the shoulders of government alone. And I'll say this all the time. Yes, we know that the government is almost like, okay, the leaders, right? The leadership of the nation. So, and it is very important that we get leadership right. 100% correct. But the transformation where we are right now as a nation, if we truly want to transform this nation, citizens must adopt this mindset of active participation. They must also adopt the mindset of, I am ready to, even if it's my brother that is there, I'm ready to delay my gratification. I'm ready to earn. I'm not saying that your brother should not give you positions or give you jobs, but let it be that you have earned it. It's not something that is handed to you because you are my brother. No, it is because you are qualified to do it. So there's a difference. You know, before I used to think, no, you can actually favor people that you know that are competent in the job. Don't just give me the job and I would then mess it up. No, give me the job you know I have the capacity to do and see if things will not change. That way, we'll not be having abandoned projects, we'll not be having failed projects. I saw the video, I said it the other day that I saw the video of the young man that went to the coastal road. Because of that video, I actually drove on that coastal road. Oh my goodness. Let's just even let me not go there. But guess what? The quality of that road already tells you that there's a fundamental problem. And this was not a money problem. It was a people problem. Because if it is in terms of money, the right money, if not even 10 times over, has been invested in that project. How come the quality is not commensurate with what is given? So these are things that eventually makes us stuck, that keeps us where we are. So can mindset shift transform Nigeria? The answer is yes. But the question is, are we ready to truly, in the real sense of it, start to shift our thinking? I'll go on a short break. When I come back from that break, we'll continue the conversation. Stay with us.
Tell us you're a Nigerian without saying a word. Energy security is one of the most pressing issues for many developing countries like Nigeria. And if there's going to be any meaningful progress, addressing our energy issues is non-negotiable.
I need to see light for my house. Make them do something.
Band A is expensive. I literally have to turn off all my appliances just to reduce costs.
We need light.
Introducing the Energy Outlook, your go-to show for everything energy. Every week, we'll bring you the latest insights, innovation, and in-depth analysis of Nigeria's energy sector. From policy discussions to regulatory insights, we will analyze the key decisions influencing growth and sustainability in the energy sector. We'll bring you the human stories behind the headlines, giving you a personal perspective on the broader energy challenges. Join me every Friday at 6 p.m. for the Energy Outlook, your guide to the future of energy, where energy means business.
All right, thanks for staying tuned now. The question tonight is if mindset shifts can change Nigeria. Please let's hear what you have to say. Remember, you can join this conversation. Send us an SMS or WhatsApp to 081-803-84663. Leave a message on our YouTube links, the live link that is on right now. You can also call our phone line 07025007749 or 0701424220. Let's hear what you have to say. So yes, can mindset shift transform Nigeria? Yes, they can, but citizens, themselves must be willing to embrace that change, right? While government policies and leadership reforms are important, the real transformation would begin at the point where we as citizens embrace it. So people at grassroots level, your everyday Nigerians, right, they are ready to change how they act, how they think, how they engage, right, with, the country, how they engage within the country. And it's a simple thing. Some of us, when we go abroad, right, we are drinking water from a PET bottle. Are we able to just throw that thing on the floor? The answer is no. But you will see some people as they are coming down from the airport, from the flight, from an international country, at the airport there, they just throw the indiscriminate, They throw the trash, the PET bottles. It's because there is a thinking that in this country, there's lawlessness, anything goes. So, at that point, do you not know that is a wrong thing to do? So why do you do it? It's because something is wrong with your thinking. So I'll say that many Nigerians expect solutions, right, from the government. And this is an entitlement mentality, without realizing that their own role is more critical in the nation building. So if we start to shift that thinking from waiting for change to being the change, right? Yes, then we are ready. Because simple things would be an example for instance, would be obeying traffic rules. Simple things like paying your taxes, keeping your environment clean, your drainages. I just mentioned one about tossing PET bottles indiscriminately, right? Things like voting responsibly, not taking bribes, right? Things like just being considerate of probably other road users, being considerate of every other citizen in the country. All those things are within your control, and it is not a government thing. All of those things will contribute eventually to national progress. But if we're not ready to change those things, then it's going to be very difficult for us to change anything. We also must move away from complaining to participating. So instead of only criticizing government, right, and their failures, especially on social media, as I said, our conversations must shift. The kind of thoughts, the kind of words that come out of our minds and our lips must shift, right? Citizens must shift towards active participation. You can't be shouting and not doing anything. You must be willing to go that extra mile, go for those local government meetings, go for the town hall meetings. You must join communities, you must join initiatives, you must start to intentionally engage in platforms where we hold our leaders accountable. The only time a nation can improve, it is only when citizens wake up. And waking up in this instance is not just enough to wake up on social media. It is getting involved. So how ready are we, to get involved, right? Many Nigerians, we've just all left it to say, okay, whatever, let it go. But that's not how things change. And I'll touch a little bit on corruption, right? Because the way we have so normalized the act of corruption in this country is baffling, right? It is baffling. We've normalized corruption in this country. Simple things, bribing or cutting corners, right? All of those things we have to be, and we are all guilty, and this is me inclusive, right? We're all guilty of this. I remember one time I was driving on the road and a federal road safety officer stopped me, and I think it was my fire extinguisher or something was missing in my trunk, so I didn't have one of the items. I think it was my fire extinguisher, I can't remember. So, and he now said, oh, okay, this, that. I said, okay, no problem, sir. What is my fine? And he looked at me, he was shocked. I said, yeah, because I thought it's a fine and I'm supposed to pay, At that point, a lot of them get angry, and he was no different. They get angry that, why are you going? Just settle us on the road and be going where you're going. I said, no. I want to pay the fine. I want to even have an idea of what the fine is. Let me even pay the fine. And of course, they then directed me to somewhere, and I paid the fine, and I moved on with my life. But I know that a lot of times, we are not ready to inconvenience ourselves a little. I remember there was one time we were traveling, and this was a federal highway. We're coming from Kaduna, we're coming to Lagos. And I think it was something around, I can't remember if it was seatbelt or something, I can't remember. And I kept on telling the man, the road safety official, that, are you more concerned about me giving you bribe, or you are more concerned about I thought your name is Federal Road Safety. I thought you should be more concerned about my safety. But it was not the case, So again, that same person was upset that we chose the option of going to go and pay for the fine. Right. So you see, if a citizen decides to shift mindset and focus on integrity and accountability, even when nobody's watching, right, on your everyday transaction, right, that can drastically reduce some of the challenges that we face in Nigeria. And those ones that really border around corruption. And it can actually start to build a culture of integrity. So imagine if you approach the police officer and the police officer says, give me a bribe, and you say, no, I'm not giving you a bribe. What do you think will happen? You tell the police officer, sorry, I can't give you a bribe. It's either you arrest me or whatever. They'll just say, I don't have your time, be going. So all these things are very important if we truly must change the country. One of the biggest problems, again, I have observed, because tonight is just observation and letting out those observations, ethnic and religious divisions, right? One of our biggest problems in this country is our ethnicity and our religion, and it's supposed to be our biggest strength. We're supposed to have, there's supposed to be beauty in our diversity, but we're having the opposite. And that is because, again, politicians have used those things as tools to continue to divide us. And this division, right, it remains a major obstacle to our progress as a people. If we must change anything, we must, as citizens, shift from prioritizing our tribe, our kingsman, our religion, to embracing a one Nigeria, right? That's why most times when you ask me, where are you from? I'm Nigerian. If that is not enough for you, I don't know what you want, right? So because, again, if we shift our thinking to stop looking at ourselves across those divisions, across those either tribal lines, ethnic lines, religious lines, it will change the game completely, because it means that at every point in time where we are faced with taking or making critical decisions that will change the course or the trajectory of our lives, we're not thinking, why are we electing an Igbo man? Why are we electing a Yoruba man? Why are we electing a Hausa man? We're not thinking that. Sadly, this is one of the biggest challenges that we will continue to face as a people. And because it is one of the strongest weapons that a lot of politicians continue to leverage on. But you see, if we flipped that switch and we stopped thinking across those lines, it means that we are now intentionally supporting merit over favoritism. We're choosing leaders, right, that would help us progress. We're now becoming collaborators based on competence and not background. So we are co-creating the Nigeria that is sustainable, the Nigeria that would see transformation. But when we don't do this, right, and we are focused on tribe, religion, and all of that, we are doing the complete opposite. So what would you rather have? I'll go back to the initial point I made earlier, right? Insanity is doing the same thing over and over again and expecting a different result. We can't keep on shouting on social media. We can't keep doing all of that. We have to stop all those things and start to think critically. Why are we where we are? Why are we not making progress? And if we really look at that question deeply, right, one of the biggest answers would be is that we have to change the way we think. We have to change our mindset. If not, we're going nowhere. Another mindset that is really critical, I'd mentioned earlier, shortcuts. Let's shift away from shortcuts to hard work. Because you see, so often, the quick wealth is always glorified, regardless of how it is earned. You see somebody that just, I mean, a 15-year-old boy the other day was on social media celebrating how he bought a Benz and all of that. I'm happy for his father that rejected that car, because the father knows that I mean, the amount that was used to buy that car, it's not what he says he's doing that he's doing. I mean, well, let's be real with ourselves. So we as citizens, we must begin to value hard work. We must begin to value discipline, consistency over this instant success. And we must shift towards long-term thinking. And all of that, it can inspire a lot of things. And that can build a lasting economic growth as a people for us. I've done a lot of these social experiments on social media, right? I've done it a lot of times. Quietly, I just do some social experiments just to test the minds of people. Nobody questions anything. If I came today, tomorrow I bought a private jet and I post it on social media, all you keep on hearing is congratulations. Hardly would you say, and the next thing you hear, cut soap for me. Show me the way. Hardly would anybody question you. Hardly would anybody question you. And that's why we continue to, that culture of fraud and all of that will continue to expand, because we have so moved away from that, the mindset of let's ask questions. Let's just, anything that goes, that's where we are. So one final thing I'd like to say, or maybe not final, but one more thing I'd love to say about our mindset shift, is our pessimistic thinking. For us to move forward as a people, honestly, we have to start to become a lot more optimistic. This hopelessness talk that we always do is not taking us anywhere. I understand that years of failed promises and hardship, right? And years of promises that nobody is fulfilling, and continuously when you go into the news headlines sometimes, or even newspapers or mainstream media, it's quite depressing. You hear about how billions were stolen and nothing is being done. And it's like the corruption is increasing, but the justice system is not catching up, right? The security agencies, they're not catching up with the speed at which corruption is happening. So years of these failed promises and, all of the hardship, and you now start to see how somebody just woke up tomorrow and became a politician and became a billionaire. All of those things, it makes you to want to lose hope in if anything is going to change in this country. It makes you want to lose hope, and that's the reality. But honestly, for us to move forward, we must shift away from that hopelessness, that pessimism. We must shift away from that and begin to believe in the possibility of a transformed Nigeria, a Nigeria that is working, a system that is working. Because it is only when citizens remain hopeful and proactive that they can create that momentum that eventually influences institutions, communities, and future generation, right? That is the only way. So, to transform Nigeria, shifting mindsets must go beyond just individual awareness. It must become our collective, collective commitment, collective cultural and national movement. So as we are saying, this movement, that movement, we must now intentionally say mind shift must become a movement in this country, right? Mindship must become a movement. And for us to start that, education is one of the foundations for that. So, as I said about students need to start to be intentionally indoctrinated into the culture of thinking positively towards their nation, thinking about the possibilities of the outcomes of what they do in school and how it can impact Nigeria. Students must intentionally be indoctrinated into thinking as a problem solver, thinking as an entrepreneur, thinking how do I contribute to national growth? So it should be embedded in our classrooms from very tender ages, like from primary school. Let's start to teach and indoctrinate our children into the possibility of a new Nigeria, and let's be, very conscious, about imbibing those values, right? Integrity, morality, hard work, all of the back into the educational system. We must continue to promote value-based leadership, right? So instead of us having leaders that are driven by personal interest, let us start to have leaders that are driven by accountability, are driven by integrity, and they are driven by service. I am here to serve my people. Promote programs that encourages ethical leadership, that encourages developmental leadership, that encourages, people to not see politics, right, as a means to an end, but instead as an opportunity to serve. So you must be intentional about, as Nigerians, we must be intentional about rejecting leaders that come every 4 years to bribe you. You see this vote buying? If Nigerians stop, allowing their votes to be bought, they will stop trying to want to buy your vote. So everything truly lies with us as a people, and we must also foster a culture of patriotism and responsibility. It means that every citizen in Nigeria, you must take ownership of your country, Nigeria. And it goes back to the educational system. Imagine if every Nigerian at a primary school level, first of all, you have the Nigerian dream. When you have the Nigerian dream and everybody feels like I'm part of that dream, I'm part of the people that would make that Nigerian dream a reality. Let us start to take ownership of the future of our country. And this would happen. One of the biggest things that makes me stay in this profession, knowing that it's not particularly profitable, is that I can actually shape minds, I can shape culture, because media is one of the strongest tools, to shape minds, shape thinking, shape culture. So you can build media campaigns, community engagements, social programs, value-driven, conversations. And all of this that can drive, right? It can help to promote national pride, unity, civic duty, all of those things can be promoted and it can be revived. These things, we had all of these things before. We lost it at some point and it can be brought back. We just need to trace our steps back and bring it back. It can be brought back. Nigeria must be reminded that transformation is not only the responsibility of government. It is in our everyday citizens' engagement. So every citizen have a role to play. And it is something, you don't need to do too many things. Just within your community there, how are you influencing positively, right? We must encourage our youth, because one of the strongest power that we have as a country is our people. So how are we encouraging those people to become a lot more innovative and try to think problem solving and all of that? Like the list is endless, right? So yes, mindset shifts can transform Nigeria, but only when they occur at both leadership level and people level. So at the people level, at citizen level, that's when it will happen. Because for too long, governance has been shaped by short-term thinkers, right? It's been shaped by short-term thinkers, right? People that tolerate corruption and a culture of impunity. That's what has been happening. So imagine if we flip that switch and start to think differently. True transformation begins when those in power adopt new ways of thinking. They see leadership as a service, of course, policies as a tool for nation building, and citizens as partners in progress, not enemies of progress, not my politically motivated kind of conversations that we are having. So without this mind shift, right, even the best reforms will fail if we don't change how we think. Right? But with it, Nigeria can unlock its full potential of its institutions, its people, and the future. And in the end, of course, mindset is not everything, but without it, nothing that is lasting can be built. So we need to really go back to the drawing board and think differently. Thank you so much for watching. And please remember to share the links to everyone that you know. It's important that we start to change the narrative and promote the conversations that needs to be heard. One of the things that we do not do, we do not pay attention to engaging conversations like this. We don't engage with conversations like this. We focus on feel-good things. And all of those feel-good things can change us, unfortunately. So if you missed our quote for today by Chinua Achebe, it says, "You cannot change a society until you change the mindset of its leaders. And it's a very simple but very powerful quote. I'll see you guys tomorrow at 8 p.m. Enjoy the rest of your evening.
Nigeria, by extension Africa, battles a growing youthful population, and with little or no meaningful engagement, leaves a ticking time bomb on our hands. We are a blessed continent with great wealth, both in people and material. Our focus on ways remains driving conversations that affects us all. Topics in the news, social concerns, politics, leadership, governance, empowerment, resource management, conflict management, finance, SME sustainability, technological innovation, food security, health, education, brain drain, our well-being, citizenship, and much more. Our goal is to continuously drive these conversations, keep them burning at the table to effect a positive change, both for our nation and continent. Ways, what are you saying, has a secret ingredient that completes the conversation every single episode, and that ingredient is you. Our past conversations shaped our yesterday. To shape our tomorrow, we must keep talking. So, I want to hear you. Be a part of our live conversations Mondays through Fridays. And let's all have our say.